We can go live now. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. I am 15 minutes late for this program, so I want to apologize on that basis. But it is another time that we get a chance to explore the things that are really affecting our country. My name is Luta Waluta, or Jeff Luta, as most of you know me. First of all, I'd like to invite you to this conversation. My 5 reasons why I have nothing to celebrate, even though the country itself is celebrating Madaraka Day. We, the people of Kenya, in my opinion, have nothing to celebrate. I can see some people are joining. Thanks everyone that is watching. Please leave a like and a comment and I will highlight you. Guys, we are on the road on the Red Army. We are on the road to 1,000 subscribers. First of all, I want to thank everyone that has already subscribed because we are already at 168 subscribers. But please, if you have not already, please subscribe so that you can enable us to reach our goal of 1,000 subscribers. So, without much ado, I want to get into the 5 reasons why we as the Kenyan people do not have cause to celebrate on this Madaraka Day, on this 60th day of self-rule or independence in Kenya. Reason number 1 why we do not have anything as the Kenyan people to celebrate is division and disunity in our country. Madaraka actually means self-rule. After our forefathers fought the British who invaded our country in 1920 and decided that they will rule us by an iron fist, our forefathers fought the colonizer and ensured that we have a free country so that we can rule ourselves. And that is the meaning of Madaraka, as self-rule. But in these 60 years of self-rule, we have seen our country deteriorate even further because it was the strategy of the colonizer to divide us so that they can rule us. Colonizers divided us into communities, especially our ethnic communities, the Luos versus, they set up communities against each other. They set up the Luo against the Kikuyu. They set up the Luya against the Kalenjin. Yet after independence, our leaders who have taken our country after the independence of our nation, have actually perpetuated the same behaviors. You can see that today, the deputy president of Kenya, the so-called deputy president of Kenya, because in my opinion, he's still not the deputy, he's an illegitimate deputy president, Rigathi Gachagua, has come out to clearly state that Kenya is a company of shareholders, meaning that only those people that voted this government in, which is the government of Kenya, not the government of Kenya Kwanza, will benefit from government services, jobs, and even other amenities. So, do we really have something to celebrate if 60 years down after independence, if self-rule, we have another kind of neo-colonial rule where a few communities come together, gang up against the rest of Kenyans, and they want to say that they have a bigger share or a bigger command of the country called Kenya compared to the rest of us. I want to submit that if this is the way that our country will go for the next few years, many of us will choose to form another country, will choose to have another Madaraka and form our own country, because the division and disunity in our country, and it's not just among communities alone. You can see today the very people that supported the Kenya Kwanza government, the youth of Mount Kenya, just because they are asking for their rights, they have already been put together, lumped together, and now they are called Mungiki. Why? These people, when they are asking for their rights, they have now become Mungiki. But at the time of a campaign where they were voting for this government, they were citizens of Kenya. So division and disunity is my first reason why I'm saying that I have nothing to celebrate on this 60th Madaraka Day for my motherland, Kenya. Number 2 is corruption. Corruption and mismanagement of public funds. In Kenya today, we are spending 80% of our national revenue to pay a foreign master. We, in short, are slaving for foreign masters. Why am I saying this? 80% of our national collection, national revenue, is going to pay debts to the Chinese and the other people that we have debts to. Yet the citizens of the country, who, according to the constitution, are the sovereign, are complaining that we can literally see nothing going on. Yet 80% of our country's tax collection is going to pay taxes. And the rest of the 20, we all know that is going into people's pockets because our country has been losing 30% of the budgets to corruption. So, corruption and mismanagement of public funds does not inspire any Kenyan to feel like they have not anything to celebrate on this Madaraka Day. And it is for that reason that I submit my second point will be that corruption and mismanagement of public funds is another reason why we, as the Kenyan people, do not have anything to celebrate during this Madaraka. And the level at which corruption is prevailing in this Kenya Kwanza regime is far much worse than any other regimes that we've had in Kenya. Today, the government is not even able to meet its basic demands. The government is not able, 60 years down after independence, what a shame, that the government is not able to transfer money to county governments to an extent where the county governments have shut down in some instances. In Kakamega, for example, I've heard my governor saying that he already has taken too many advance loans to pay county staff to the extent that he does not know what he's going to do in the next step. So it is my submission that 60 years after independence, corruption and mismanagement of public funds has been one of the biggest Achilles heels in our country. And that's my reason number two why I have nothing to celebrate. Number three, the third reason, and just before I go to the third reason, guys, please, I want to remind everyone that is watching, please remember to leave a subscription. At least help us out. And also, if you subscribe, you'll be able to see more content like this and many more. Another reason why we have nothing to celebrate 60 years of Madaraka or 60 years of self-rule, and we still tunaona, I'll present this point in Kiswahili because I'm very proud of Swahili. Tunaona nchi ya Kenya watu wanashikwa ovyo ovyo, ukipingana na serikali, ukiwa na msimamo tofauti kutokana na serikali unashikwa, ambapo na wakati nchi yetu ni demokrasia. How can you be arrested for saying for just speaking your mind while we are in a democracy? The bunge la wananchi, our friends Nuru Okanga, Kimbi Kimbi, Songa Songa, and many other of these guys, Kenyan young people who are coming out to tell the government that, look here, what we need is employment and empowerment so that we can contribute to the economy of this country meaningfully. Yet now, if you voice your displeasure at the government is arresting you. Yet we have a constitution in Kenya. William Ruto and Rigathi Gachagua and this Kenya Kwisha government want to finish our constitution. And that is why I'm saying that we have nothing to celebrate, even on this 60th day, this 60th anniversary of Kenyan independence. Just the other day, I want to highlight that Bunge la Wananchi, they have arrested 13 people at night for just airing their views, and they are staying in the police cells more than the 24 hours prescribed in our constitution to say that if you are arrested, you are supposed to be presented before a court of law in 24 hours. Saa hizi tunashikwa ovyo ovyo, unashikwa, unakaa jela more than 24 hours in disregard to the constitution of Kenya. Baada ya ukoloni, we have nothing to smile about because we are being arrested arbitrarily. Another reason why we have nothing to celebrate 60 years after independence is the lack of the state in ensuring the welfare of its citizens. Leo hii tunapoongea, there is the finance bill. The finance bill is going to make life even harder for the people of Kenya. Yet the government cannot listen to the people and do away with the finance bill because we are literally still under colonialism. So even if we are celebrating Madaraka 60 years on after the rule of the British or the white man, the new administration is showing us tendencies of a dictatorial administration, because the people of Kenya in very many forums have come out and said that we do not want this finance bill because this finance bill is going to make life unbearable for Kenyans. But because of a lack of the welfare, because of a lack of the state to prioritize the welfare of the people, the same language that was used by the colonizer from 1920, when the colonizer landed in Kenya, to 1963, when our forefathers managed to chase the colonizer away from Kenya, we can still hear the same language today, the language of lazima na wapende wasipende. That's why I submit to you, fellow Kenyans, that we have nothing to celebrate about. My next reason number 4, why I say that I have nothing to celebrate on this Madaraka, is the lack of collective vision for country. This Kenya Kwanza administration had already found a country where we had laid foundation in terms of infrastructure and plans, Vision 2030, on where we want to take the country in the next few years. We also have sessional papers, but when this Kenya Kwanza government came into government, they have decided to disregard everything else that other Kenyans had envisioned for our country. So now, Vision 2030 is nowhere to be seen. The sessional papers are nowhere to be seen, and we are flying without a radar. It is just a government that is flying without a radar. We have no collective vision to tell the people of Kenya where we are and where we want to go. And that is another reason, fellow Kenyans, why I submit that even on this 60th day of Madaraka, this 60th anniversary of our independence, we actually do not have anything to celebrate. Because for any country to succeed, we must have a collective vision of where we want our country to be in the next few years. This Kenya Kwanza regime, led by illegitimate President William Ruto and Rigathi Gachagua, is showing us that we do not have a collective idea of where we want to go. Their only aim is to overtax us. After they overtax us, they mismanage and misuse our funds in corruption deals. You can hear the other day there was the KEMSA deal. And even government insiders are telling us that this government will produce the biggest scandals in Kenya. David Ndii the other day said that the country-to-country oil deal that the Kenya Kwanza administration went into will be the biggest scandal of our generation. Why? Because this administration is only concerned about making themselves rich and not caring at all about the needs of the citizenry and the people of Kenya. Reason number 5 why I want to submit that we have no reason actually to celebrate Madaraka is that we can see today that institutions that were put there by our constitution to try to create law and order in our country have now turned into tools. Office of the Register of Political Parties. How comes Madam Anne Deritu, can tell us that he knows the real owners of Jubilee more than Uhuru Kenyatta. Yet, in the same office she's sitting, she has registered Uhuru Kenyatta as the party leader of Jubilee Party. I want to submit to you, fellow Kenyans, that we have no reason to celebrate Madaraka because we are still living under a modern day dictatorship. The registrar of political parties has documents from Jubilee Party where it has assigned and ascended to the fact that we, the people and the members of Jubilee Party, are in the Azimio coalition. Yet she's again saying that people like Kanini Kega and Sabina Chege, who have been seen to disrespect the party and join Kenya Kwanza in broad daylight. Now the registrar of political parties, she's saying that these are the people that are supposed to lead Jubilee Party. What is her? That's why I want to submit again to you, fellow Kenyans, that we are not independent. We are still living under a colonial government, a colonial regime that is brutalizing Kenyans. And we must come together as Kenyans and say that even on this Madaraka Day, we condemn this regime and its surrogates. Just before I finish, guys, I want to appreciate everyone that has followed the short stream. If you have not done it from the beginning, please just go back and do it from the beginning. You'll really find value. Also, I want to urge everyone that has watched this to help us out. Subscribe to the channel. We are on the road to 1,000 subscribers, and we will bring you even more content on a daily basis. Just before I finish, I want to recap the 5 points I have said why I am not celebrating independence today on Madaraka Day. Point number 1, corruption and mismanagement of public funds. Since independence, all the governments that have come, let me be honest, have mismanaged our funds. That's why today 80% of our revenues are going to pay a foreign master. Isn't that colonialism, fellow Kenyans? That 80%, that 80 shillings out of every 100 shillings we make in Kenya today is going to pay the Chinese and to pay other countries from which we have taken loans and mismanaged. Because the sovereigns of the country, the citizens, me and you, we have not seen any meaningful use of this money. The second reason why I've said that, why I submit that I'm not celebrating Madaraka Day, is that the disunity and division that was planted by the colonizer when he arrived in the shores of Kenya in 1920 is still with us today, 100 years later. The colonizer sowed seeds of disunity among communities in Kenya and even families. And that's why today there is a lot of disunity in Kenya. Others are pulling in one direction, others in another direction, and even disunity within communities. For example, the Kikuyu, where I've said that the people that voted for this regime, the young people from the Kikuyu community, when they now come out in large numbers to ask for their rights, to say, to put this government out, to say, please do for us what you promised us you'll do, they are now being branded that they are Mungiki. You can see that this unity and division is still in our country 100 years after the white man came here. Now, the third reason, by this I mean that this government, especially this Kenya Kwisha government, has made life very unbearable for Kenyans, and they are not even blinking the eye. With this finance bill, they are going to increase the prices of everything in Kenya. Most people have been talking about the house levy, which I know is also a big issue. But I want to submit to you that that is even the lesser evil in this bill. This bill is going to tax even infants in Kenya. A young Kenyan who is going to be born today and needs none, which is milk for children, is expected to pay 6% tax extra on what they were already paying today on children's milk. So, which independent country is even taxing the youngest people in Kenya? The people who are being born today in Kenya are expected to pay 6% on their milk. Is that independence, ladies and gentlemen? Another reason, just before I conclude, is the lack of a common vision for country, especially this UDA administration. Previous administrations have tried to follow the Vision 2030, and this administration has come into power, has grabbed power at a point where our country is already set up in terms of infrastructure and laws, but they are slowly but surely taking us back to the dark days where laws mean nothing in Kenya, and even they cannot build on the infrastructure laid by the Jubilee administration to make life even better for the Kenyan people. So I want to end this stream here because it was only a short stream. I will be reading the comment section. So if you are watching or you have watched, please go into the comment section and leave a comment. I want to read if you have any reason to celebrate this 60th Madaraka, because on my part, I do not have many reasons. Because today in Kenya, you can be arrested arbitrarily. Our brothers at Bunge la Mwananchi, just before I finish, I must put this out there. 13 of them have been arrested for no reason at all. Today, they are in prison. More than 24 hours, which the Constitution says arrested in 24 hours, you should be taken to court. Some of these guys have been sitting in police cells for more than a week. This shows you that this government is hell-bent to disregard our constitution. And fellow Kenyans, just before I finish, I want to make a submission that we must defend our constitution before it's weak. William Ruto, Honorable William Ruto, is saying that the finance bill must pass without amendments, even a comma. What makes you think what will prevent William Ruto to constitutional amendment to our constitution? His robots in parliament, I will call them robots without blinking an eye, because how comes the whole country is saying that this is not good for us, and you are saying that we must pass it? So what illegally acquired to pass a constitutional amendment? My final submission, fellow Kenyans, is that please let us, before it is too weak to defend us. I want to submit that I don't see anything to smile about. Asanteni sana, guys. Thanks for bless Kenya.